Hi, welcome to the Wedding Reporter podcast. I'm here with Kayla today, and we are going to chat all about 27 dresses. We have another rom-com review for you. So, this movie was made in 2007, and I don't think it came out until 2008, but it stars Katherine Heigl. She plays Jane Nichols in the movie. And then we have Kevin Doyle, who is James Marsden, Kayla's little heartthrob over there. I'm sure you'll talk
Celebrity
more about
crush.
that. Celebrity crush. He's a lot of people's celebrity crush. Malin Ackerman is Tess, and Judy Greer, she's always the BFF. She's Casey, Jane's best friend. And it's directed by Anne Fletcher. And okay, the storyline or screenwriter is Aileen Broche McKenna, and I have some fun fact about her. So, this movie was inspired by a true story.
Oh, wow.
It is lifted from the screenwriter who I just mentioned, her friend Kate, and she describes her as a perpetual bridesmaid. So Kate is unbelievably nice that at the time I did the movie, she'd been in 12 weddings.
Ugh, wow.
And she said, not only was Kate in these weddings, but she would also dog sit for people, pick people up from the airport. Like, she was just
Yeah.
an all around, like, best bridesmaid you could ever have. And so, yeah, I got a lot of these facts that I'm going to sprinkle in from this Over the Moon blog. And yeah, we can get started. Kayla, you want to start us off with the opening scene?
Well, right off the bat, she's in this pink, very pink, bubblegum pink, puff sleeve dress with white pearls, white pearl earrings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very 80s,
Oh, yeah. And
So,
she's a little girl in this scene, right? It's like 1986, and she's a flower girl.
mhm.
Yeah. And it's her sister who has this, like, giant bow in her hair,
And
right?
she knew at that, they say, like, she knew, like, that at that time, at that moment, this is what she wanted to do. Like, this is where,
Oh, yeah.
which poses the question to me, because she's not a wedding planner.
No,
Why
she's
is she
not.
not a wedding planner?
I know. That is super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the bride, I think, okay, so the bride of this first wedding, which she was a little girl, had like a lace applique, long sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
The bouquet was pretty standard. I wrote in my
Mm-hmm.
notes, with some pink roses. It had baby's breath in it, which is
Yeah.
still pretty consistent of today's. Had some snapdragons, but it had a huge pink bow
Mm-hmm.
wrapped around it. So the bows, I don't know. I feel like the bows are kind of a fad, but like they're kind of a fad that's it's kind of back in now.
Yeah,
And
it is.
it's in a kind of a different way, but
Mm-hmm.
we're still heavy on the bows in 2024.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe bows are a little more dainty now
Yeah,
than they were then, but yeah, bows are back.
bows are
Um,
that.
oh yeah. And so with this bride, she has a rip at the back of her dress, and there is a crisis moment,
Oh, right.
and Jane is the one who actually saves the day, and that is her moment of like,
Mhm.
wow,
Of clarity, like, oh my gosh, this is what's meant to
this is
be
what
of
I want
me.
to do. Yeah.
Mhm. So do you
And
wonder if she like set out to be the bridesmaids in all these, you know?
yeah, I know, because I'm like, man, 27 times, like
In
27
like one
friends.
year.
Like,
One year.
yeah,
That's
like, do I even have 27 friends
absolutely not.
who are that close to you that you would be a bridesmaid in their wedding? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
So, I thought that was interesting.
I know,
That
super
wasn't
interesting.
that wasn't her path, but that's what she
Mm-hmm.
decided. Like, I don't know. I do think she kind of set out to, I want to be in all of these weddings, so how can I be in all of these weddings?
Mm-hmm.
And that was her path, I guess she chose.
Yeah, for
But
sure. Definitely. Yeah, and maybe that's just her personality type too, is like she is such a helper type of a person and like has a lot of friends because of just that's what she does. And so people are like, I can count on her to help with my wedding and I
Yeah.
want her to be a bridesmaid. And so, yeah.
Which I do feel like that is definitely a character trait to where like you feel like it not, I don't want to necessarily call it a people pleaser, but it is a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's like I want to be that person that they can count on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where Jane is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then we go back to modern day and she's trying on one of her friend's wedding dresses.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, wait, is she getting married already? And then you're like, oh, wait, no, it's her friend's dress.
Nope. She's getting dressed and hemmed and fitted,
Yeah.
which is also, I also found that very interesting because she's getting fitted and hemmed. It's on the wedding day.
Yeah.
For her
So unrealistic.
But it's not the bridesmaid's dress. It's the it's the bride's
Yeah.
dress. It's the wedding
Yeah.
dress.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the wedding day. I was like, that does not happen.
Yeah.
Now.
And it's on Catherine / Jane,
And
who
it's
is
on the
not the
bride.
person wearing the wedding
And
dress.
I think the bride's like, oh, I'm so glad we're the same, like we're the same size. Like
I know.
that would never happen.
Yeah. So then we have her, wearing a bridesmaid dress. It's like this purple bridesmaid dress. And then,
Has a collar. It has a
yeah,
collar.
it has a collar. So interesting.
Oh.
And the bride says, good thing you can shorten them and wear them again.
Always.
I
Always.
know. That was always like the myth back then was like, oh, you can just shorten this and like wear it for Easter, wear it for, a little cocktail
Right.
dress and whatever. And I mean, maybe some you can, like if it was black or something, maybe you could get away with that, but
never have I ever worn a bridesmaid's dress again. I have been in probably 6 or 7 weddings.
Yeah.
I have never. But
Yeah.
I guess maybe. She also had a floral crown. The bridesmaids
She
had
did.
a floral crown.
Yes.
Which those are also kind of popular.
So then the scene goes where her friends decide to have their weddings on the same night, 2 of her friends, and she is bridesmaids in both of these weddings.
Which to not Jane's defense, but Jane's like reason for life to be in all these weddings, like they're not friends. She has a lot of different
That
circles.
is so true.
She has a lot of different circles of friends, which like, I mean, sure, I'm sure a lot of people do, but also I feel like a lot of my friends know each other. Where they would be like, oh, this person's getting married on this day, I'm not going to do. But she probably doesn't have that situation going on. She's got a lot of different circles going on in her life. So they have no idea about one another.
That is so true. So these scenes are so funny where she is just going back and forth the entire night to both weddings, and somehow she magically ends up being in the picture at the right time at both of these weddings. I mean, she must have studied the outline of each of these weddings to a T.
She was like, quote unquote, like planning these weddings. I guess she would.
That's true. That is so true.
She
Yes.
could have planned it around her being able to be in each important moment.
Yep.
Timing.
She would be like, yes, I need 10 minutes and my cab can get from point A to point B at this time and I can change in this amount of time. Make sure. And they're 2 completely different weddings. It's like she has to wear an Indian like gown and everything and like redo her makeup and hair. Like it's a big switch here, but she pulls it off seamlessly. I'm so impressed with what
obviously.
And she meets this mysterious man who then, can't leave her alone. He like follows her into the cab at night, and they have this big floral arrangement sitting in between them in the back of the cab. And the floral arrangement's actually really pretty. I'm like, hey, that's still really pretty for weddings these days. And it's just really funny how she's carrying this giant
Uh-huh.
you know, floral arrangement into her house, and he's asking if he can help her, but she leaves her filofax in the cab, which I was like, what's a filofax? I've never heard of this word. And they're like saying it in the
Yeah.
movie this whole time, but
I
I
guess
guess it's like her
calendar planner.
her little calendar. This is like before smartphones.
Yeah. In true reporter fashion, that's, he chases the story, so he's chasing her.
Uh-huh.
She's the
Yeah.
story, trying to figure it out. So
Oh yeah.
he lives up to the name for sure. He's very inquisitive, very just what
Mm-hmm.
is going on here? Who is this gal? And what's her
Yeah.
story all about? So
Oh yeah. I know. So then he has her filofax and he decides to go through her calendar and find out where she is, where she's working, and he's going to come up with a little scheme and, make it known that he really wants to pursue her. So she's at work and her work crush is actually her boss, George.
a bad move.
I know, it's so bad, and she just fawns over him, and it's so cringe, and you're just like, oh girl, he's not gonna, no. But he definitely takes advantage of,
Do you
her
think
people
he's clueless?
pleasing.
Like I can't figure out if he does know or doesn't know.
I know, it is a little tricky to know.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie, I think he does know, but at this point, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we fast forward a little bit. Her sister comes to town, who is Tess, and she ends up meeting George at a company party, which, like, are they at some, like,
I was
goth
confused on how
bar or something? I'm
I was
like,
confused on how they met.
is this a work event?
It was like, well, first of all, Tess is like one of those gals. She's like, she's not a girl's girl. Like she is
Yeah.
very much like boy crazy, and
Mm-hmm.
she's not very stable. Like that's Tess, and she comes in town, and I think Jane does invite her to like the work thing, and she
Mm-hmm.
says no.
Mm-hmm.
She has plans, and then somehow she ends up there because she meets George before the work event. How she doesn't realize, Tess doesn't put two and two together that this is where, like, this is the same thing, that the work event that Jane is Jane's job. I don't know. Like I said, she's kind of an airhead in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
she ends up there. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And she starts falling in love with George, Tess does, and it's Jane's worst nightmare. And yeah, she exits the club, screams, yeah.
Like screaming profanities, and there's like a wedding going on, right?
Yep. There's a wedding next door that she was screaming profanities at, and how embarrassing, especially for Jane, who is so into all the weddings she does. And she, would never do that to one of her friends. Um, but I thought it was interesting. She did mention that her gift to her friends for their wedding is this wine of the month club, that a membership that she gives them. And I'm like, I feel like this movie, like, that gift was before its time. Like, now we're all about the subscription boxes and subscribing to like all these different wines and, trying taste of the world. And I'm like, wow, that is a pretty good gift.
Yeah.
And
I feel like a
very thoughtful.
standard traditional gift in 2007 would be like a blender or a toaster.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, that's a really good, a lot better gift. Maybe she's learned through her doubts as being a bridesmaid and in all these weddings that what is the best gift to give, and that is wine every month.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Good point. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then she plans her coworkers like rehearsal dinner, I think, and it's a co-ed mojito and burrito rehearsal dinner. I kind of love this theme though.
That's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. for a rehearsal dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was fun. Tess and George's relationship progresses very fast.
Yes.
It's quick. It's a whirlwind. It's like they are falling hard fast.
Well,
And
she's telling him everything he wants to hear and know, and
mhm,
be the woman that he's looking for, even though that's not really her.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
hmm
And so it comes a time where he decides that he wants to propose to her. And he has this whole setup with at an Italian restaurant with this Italian music playing, and he's got this marry me sign going, and Jane walks in, you know trying to get a hold of George to tell him something, and the band thinks that Jane is Tess, and they start playing the music like,
Yeah.
you know, like she's the one that he's going to propose to. And this part's just so cringe too, because then he says,
He says, what does he say?
"Oh no, wait, she's not the one. She's not the one."
Uh,
Oh, poor Jane.
oh,
I mean, this is who
she's
she
just,
has loved from afar, and he just is proposing to her sister, and
mhm.
she walks in and says, "You're not the one.
You're
She's not the
like
one."
literally telling you to your face,
Yeah.
you are not the one,
Heartbreaking.
which should not be a
I know.
super surprise to Jane, but it still hurts. It still
Mhm.
stings, you know?
Yeah,
And
for
she's just
sure.
like, she's literally in just shock. She's just
Mhm.
like, she can't even talk. She can't move. She's just frozen in time of what in the heck is happening.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which I don't
Poor
blame.
girl.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, I
Which I
know.
mean, also, I was reading some articles and it was like, do you think Tess, like, she just has an identity crisis? She really doesn't even know who she really is.
Yeah.
She just thinks she wants what everybody else wants. She's not really sure who she
Mhm.
is. And, kind of, we'll get into this, I'm sure, about the way that she ends up planning her wedding. And she
Mhm.
kind of plans it in a way that, like, the way that Jane would have wanted it to be, which is the way her
Mhm.
mom's wedding was.
Yeah.
But I think it's for lack of Tess not knowing what she wants. So
Mhm.
she's just copying what she thinks she wants.
Yeah,
But
that's so
anyway,
true. Yeah, she really doesn't have much of an identity because she just kind of is a chameleon and does what other people like or
yeah,
do. And that's why another reason why Jane is so frustrated about this is because she knows that George is not falling in love with who Tess really is, because Tess just agrees with everything that George says. Like, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian." And she's like, "Yes, I am too." And it's like,
and
"No, you're not."
love hiking and
Yeah.
all those things, and that's just
Mhm.
and like to your point, Jane knows that's not who Tess is,
Mhm.
and she loves George, so she
Mhm.
doesn't want George to get hurt
Right. Yeah.
in that sense. Which it's hard because that's her that's her baby sister, but then that's
Yeah.
also the man she loves.
I know.
No,
Mm.
it's a tough place to
It's a
be in,
tough
Jane.
situation.
Oh,
I know.
then you got
Oh.
Kevin chasing her around.
Oh, I know. And then it's like, girl,
Somewhere
there's
in here, he either she invites him to her apartment or he shows up, right?
uh-huh. Yes.
And they end up opening the closet.
They open the closets. Well, she finds out he's the reporter, and then he decides to do a story on Tess.
hmm
And that gives him a reason to follow Jane around and be in Jane's life more,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty clever. So yeah, the 27 dresses
Mhm.
part happens,
I can't remember
and
how the door opens, but the door opens and it's just boom,
yeah. Oh
tool
yeah.
in your face.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know. It's wild. I've got another fun fact about this part. So, the costume designer said that the hardest part of her job was finding 27 dresses that would look unflattering on Katherine Heigl. And Catherine Thomas the woman in charge of the film's wardrobe. She sourced from eBay, thrift stores, catalogs, and she got 50 dresses that they had to narrow down to 27. And she said no matter what the dress was, she still looked beautiful. So we just add more flowers, more tulle, and a hat.
Okay. Then the hat is what will get you.
Oh yeah, the hat'll get you.
A
That's so
pro
funny.
tip to brides listening: do not have your bridesmaids wear a hat, please.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh my
it's a
gosh.
little iffy
Well,
there.
you know what? And I tried to count them all, and I honestly only counted 20. Did you count them all?
Yeah, I didn't count them all,
I tried to
so
count them all, unless I missed 7 somewhere.
yeah.
But
Maybe they're hiding in the back of the closet.
yeah, it got to be
Yeah.
falling down or something.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
but okay, so the first one, and
Yeah.
I included the first 2 in the beginning of the movie, which was the collared purple dress, and
Mhm.
then the Indian wedding, the bridesmaid's dress there. So
Mhm.
number 3 starts here, where
Okay.
we're opening the closet, which is the gauding with
Mhm.
the spiky choker. The number 4 is green dress at the try-on.
Yes. It's like the shiny mermaid one I have. And they say, "What color is this? Vomit?" Is that that's what James Marsden says, I think. Yeah. When she's like trying them on for him.
Yes. Does
Um
this whole scene of
mhm.
playing dress up, really.
I
So
love these montage dress up scenes in
thank you.
rom-coms. They're just the best. I
So
love
then we
it.
have next the yellow prairie dress. What
Uh-huh.
is this with the umbrella? Gone with the Wind wedding? I think
Yes.
it was a Gone with the Wind wedding.
It was the Gone with the Wind wedding, and they had like petticoat dresses, and he
Yes.
says, "What was the theme? Humiliation."
Um,
Oh, there's like a orange with flower straps one.
with floral straps.
Yeah.
And there was a Japanese wedding.
Yep.
Um, there was a pink, like 80s style wedding and a blue,
Mm-hmm.
like 80s style wedding. Oh,
Yep.
mismatched wedding. The men wore dresses and the women wore suits.
Oh my
Did you have that
gosh.
note? Um,
No, I had missed that somehow.
yeah,
What
so
the heck?
that was the theme. It was mismatched. It was men wore dresses,
Wow.
women wore suits. Crazy. And then there was like a pink tux dress, flamingo dress with the pink and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one I just wrote yellow. It's a yellow dress.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's like a cowgirl wedding, right? With a blue skirt on horses, I had written down.
pink
Um,
pink the LA wedding. Pink
yes.
midi dress.
Mm-hmm.
Red tulle with butterflies and green hearts on the straps. Blech. Purple satin.
Oh.
Looks like a bad 80s again.
Mm-hmm.
Blue, royal blue with ruffles. Oh, with fluff ruffle on the butt. Oh, the underwater
The
dress.
underwater wedding. I loved this one.
One.
She has like such creative friends. Like, I'll give it to them.
Okay.
Like, they all went with a theme hardcore here. Like,
I'll take that. I
yeah.
like the way you worded that. Creative friend. We talk about like the maid of honor thing. So she said to Tess, like, obviously, well, Tess said to Jane, obviously, I want you to be my maid of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Sister, she's her sister. So, like, is this a thing that if you have a sister, they're automatically your maid of honor?
Good question. Let's see. I don't have a sister, so
I don't have a sister
but
either, but I don't. I don't have a sister, so
yeah. I
I
guess we're not the ones to speak on that.
so I was just wondering, like, what the dealio was on that. Like, if you have a sibling, are
Mm-hmm.
they like obviously understood that this person is going to be your maid of honor, and does it have to be like that? Like, is that a normal
Hmm.
thing for most people to like to do, to feel like that has to happen, or is it not?
Hmm.
I don't know.
All right. Well, if you have a sister and you got married, and maybe if she wasn't your maid of honor, write us, Alyssa at NashvilleBrideGuide.com. I want to hear about this. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, also Tess probably didn't have very many friends. She does not have any girlfriends.
Right.
All the girls in her wedding, the wedding party, are Jane's friends. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
It probably depends on how close you are with your sister. Yeah. Or maybe like how close in age you are, like how, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says here after the 27 dresses, try on happens, she says, I don't care if somebody wants me to wear a funny dress. It's their day, not mine. So what do you think about that?
I think it's a very bridesmaidal, that's a word,
I
thing
like
to
it.
say and do.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people would feel this way too.
Mm-hmm.
If they're good
Yeah.
friends with you. If they're a good friend, it won't matter to them.
Yep. Because as a bridesmaid, your job is to be there and be supportive of them no matter what they do. And like, yes, you can guide them along the way, but like if the bride picks out a dress for you and they just love it and it goes with their theme and everything, and yes, maybe it doesn't look right with your skin tone, body type, whatever, blah, 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 blah. All these reasons that people give that a dress may not look good on them.
Right.
It's like you suck it up for a day and you like wear that dress because you are standing beside your best friend, one of your best friends, watching her on the best day of her life, say her vows and get married to the man of her dreams. And so, I think that's just a day where it's not your opinion.
It's not. Yeah, that's one. I agree 100%. It's not your choice. Sometimes there are opportunities within like this stage where you are determining bridesmaids' dresses, and I feel like we've gotten to the point where the bride does kind of ask, or they'll choose like a couple of different options and they say you decide which one you want to wear. Like I do feel like as the weddings have progressed into 2024, going into 2025, we have gotten so much better on the bridesmaids dresses where like you actually could wear them again. But we've gotten to the point where it's become less themey and less whimsical and more, I guess, classic kind of feels for the most part. And also, sometimes they do mismatch. So it's, you could even potentially choose from different kinds of colors and, like a list of different bridesmaids dresses. So I do feel like here and now, most of the time, the brides have gotten to the point where they do kind of allow the bridesmaid to choose. But overall, if you're in a situation where it is black and white, like this is the dress, that's what you do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
100%. It's like, yeah, exactly what you said. Like, it's not 2007, 2008 anymore. And it's like, so we've learned from the generation previous to us and their, mishaps with bridesmaid dresses. And, it kind of came out that like, no, these dresses aren't really flattering because there really was back then a category that was just bridesmaid dresses. And now it's like a lot of people are looking outside of the box. And yes, there are definitely bridesmaid dress designers still that make gorgeous dresses. But a lot of people are like, get a dress from Lulu's or wear a black dress of your choosing. Like you can go to a department store, like wherever. And I think that's important to brides now too, is for their bridesmaids to be comfortable in their own skin on their wedding days, but also it's more of a push and pull and like collaboration effort on behalf of the bride and the bridesmaids to find dresses that go with the theme still, go with the colors still, but also that your bridesmaids are comfortable in. So, yeah.
I do feel like, and I don't know why this ever became about, but I do feel like there was a time when it was like, my bridesmaids are going to wear an ugly dress.
Yeah.
I don't
Wow.
know
Good
why
point.
it was like that, but there
Mm-hmm.
was a stigma that like this dress is going to be ugly and it's meant to be ugly. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want anybody looking at anybody else on my wedding day and thinking how beautiful that they look. It's only me, the bride. So
Wow.
they pulled these really ugly dresses for bridesmaids to wear. And
That could totally be true. Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong in this, but that's what I feel like a lot of that, like in the early 2000s, it was
Mm-hmm.
like that. And now, like, we've strayed away from a lot of that. And like you said, it's more, it, we've realized like we don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be ugly
Mm-hmm.
dresses anymore. We
Yeah.
want them to be beautiful. And I think a lot of that is also kind of like just a women's movement in general.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like feeling like empowered as a woman. I want my bridesmaids to be comfortable on my wedding day, and I want them to be happy, just
Mm-hmm.
happy and not feeling like I have to wear this ugly A dress. So
Right.
yeah.
That is such a good point. Yeah, that maybe some brides did have that outlook on it. Like, I want the attention to all be on me only.
Yeah.
And to almost like throw your bridesmaids under the bus, which would be
Mhm.
terrible. But like,
I mean,
but
honestly, in my
now,
opinion, if it's my wedding day and I've chosen this like really ugly, outstandingly looking bridesmaid's dress, it's like bright pink or bubblegum pink, purple. I feel like that brings more attention to your bridesmaids
yeah,
to be
that's
like,
true.
look at me, I'm wearing a hideous dress versus like a black dress that's gonna blend in or something.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true.
But
Oh my gosh. Really
so
good convo here.
there's that. But so now we are past the scene.
Yeah, so George and Tess go and register for
Mm,
their wedding, and they go to the store with the little scanner gun and they start scanning stuff.
yeah.
But then
Do that when you
I did not do that. I did myregistry.com, and I just put everything
yeah,
on there.
we did it.
But yeah, you
We did
did
it.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted to do
fun.
it because you always watch these movies growing up, and it's you're
Yeah.
scanning the stuff, and I was like, oh, I get to scan the stuff, and
Yeah.
we did it just for the fun of it.
Oh,
But
I
we did it.
love it.
We probably scanned like maybe 7 things because not everything is out there anymore at stores.
I know. Yeah.
It's not. So whereas you wanted to have fun and do that and have that moment together, we tried to. And we did. Like also it's interesting because she's scanning for her, like she's the bridesmaid, maid of honor, whatever, planner, whatever you want to call her, and she's scanning for her sister.
I
Her sister
know.
really should be doing this. This is their wedding registry. Like,
Yep.
why is she scanning? So, but again,
I
she
know.
does everything for her sister. So,
Yeah, she does. She is a good sister, a good bridesmaid, but somehow she ends up as always like being the person making the decisions the bride should be making.
Mhm.
Oh, so then there's a random like they run the car off the road, Jane and
Kevin.
James Marston, Kevin,
Yeah.
and they end up at this bar and they're talking about how much Jane has admired him from afar as a reporter and clips out all of his articles and saves them because she loves like reminiscing about the weddings and reading about them. And they discover that both of their favorite parts of a wedding is looking at the groom as the bride is walking down the
Oh,
aisle
yeah.
to
I wanted to
see
ask you this.
his gaze and his,
I wanted to ask you that
feeling.
too because she actually asks, what's his name?
Kevin?
No, she asks, George this.
George? Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember if it's before this scene or after. what her favorite part.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember if it's before or after, but she does talk to George. She's like on the patio at this probably club having lunch with George.
That's
She's
right.
supposed to be having lunch with Ted.
They're tasting,
Yeah,
right?
they're
Wasn't that their tasting?
Yes, tasting. And again, she's doing everything that Tess is doing. Like, I want to know, what is Tess doing?
I know. Where
She
is
doesn't.
she?
What is
She
she?
doesn't even live there, right?
No. What is she doing that she can't be at these things? But anyway, so they're tasting, and I think George asks her, like, "What's your favorite part?" And she said, "Oh, that's easy," and that's what she said.
Aw,
And so,
yeah.
and then Kevin and her find out her favorite
I
part.
don't think people really gave a thought to that because everyone would look at the bride. But yeah, after this movie, everyone looks at the groom now.
Which it's like kind of, if I'm the bride, I'm not looking at people if I'm like walking down the aisle,
Right. Yeah.
the groom, but you kind of want people to look at you. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but
True. Oh,
yeah.
man.
So they find out that they have the same like love
Mm-hmm.
part of the wedding,
Oh, yeah.
and he really
And
is a sap.
I know, he really is, even though he puts on this whole front
Yeah.
that, like, I don't really do it for that part of it, but he does.
Yeah.
And then we get to this scene where Benny and the Jets starts playing at the bar, and it is an iconic rom-com movie scene
So crazy over it.
where everybody in the bar just starts singing Benny and the Jets. There's the alcohol flowing. And oh, I have a fun fact here too.
Mhm.
So the Benny and the Jets scene almost didn't happen.
Oh,
Apparently, a few weeks before they started shooting, the director um thought the famous Elton John song was too slow, and says we were actually investigating some other songs, including Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones, and some others. And then when the writer Aileen found out, she fought hard to keep it in, and she started calling him about 5,000 times, he says,
oh my.
and really lobbying for Benny and the Jets to stay in the movie. It was her legislation, and she was right.
Oh wow. Good.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. I'm glad she fought for that because it really, I mean,
That's
I
what.
don't know if another song would have worked.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have, but this one just fit.
I mean, anytime I hear Benny and the Jets, I think of this movie.
Oh, yeah, for
It
sure. I
definitely
think
made it.
most people do in our generation. Then we get to a scene where Tess cuts up their mother, who is sadly deceased, her wedding dress. She cuts it up and she's at Amsale, and they have designed it into a completely new dress. And Jane is just devastated
As
because
she should.
Jane wanted to wear it, I think, authentically to her
Yeah,
wedding
probably.
and just altered to her body. But her sister cut it all up and used it for her wedding.
You couldn't. What'd she say? You wouldn't fit in it anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
evil.
for sure.
So terrible. Um, and then Tess asks her to do the speech at the rehearsal dinner, and she says the perfect bridesmaid always does what she's asked. And well, this kind of backfired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she does not do what she's asked. Jane ends up giving the actual speech. Yes, she did that part.
She did.
But she put all of these blackmail photos in a slideshow of Tess and pretty much ripped off her mask, blew her cover, and everyone found out who Tess really is, and it's not who she has been acting like to George.
Which,
Um,
was there a better way to do this? Yeah,
Maybe in private, yeah,
maybe.
but
Off, so.
she had a lot of resentment built up over the even just these past few weeks
Mhm.
that this movie takes place in. And then, let's see, she tears all the dresses out of the closet, puts them in trash bags. This is like her symbolic transformation. She's like, I'm not going to be a people pleaser anymore. This is me now. I'm standing up for myself. Like,
Yeah.
my sister's being fake. Like, I just outed her, and it feels good to finally, like, get revenge and everything. But I think she does feel guilty about it a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we have a random scene where George ends up kissing Jane at work, and it doesn't.
Backfires a little bit. It's like,
Yeah.
that wasn't really
Yeah.
special anyway.
Yeah. But I also think it gave her a lot of clarity
Yes.
on, having loved him from afar for so long, and then they kiss and she doesn't feel anything. It's like, he's not the one, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
She did
And
not
then
feel that way when she kissed Kevin. Apparently. She felt
no.
better.
Yeah. And she kisses Kevin. Oh yeah, she did. Yeah, I think they do this on a boat at another wedding randomly. They like crash a wedding, right? And
Mhm.
kiss here, and then yeah, they end up together, and they have a wedding on the beach, which it seems really pretty. The last line of this is so good. She says, "The day that I woke up and put on my 28th dress, I went to a wedding where no one asked me to hold the bouquet, fold a place card, or hold their dress while they peed. Everything was perfect and I didn't care, because right then, the only thing that mattered was the person waiting for me at the end of the aisle. And he was looking at me the way I'd always hoped." And yeah, the best surprise at the end was when all of the bridesmaids were lined up wearing the dress that they made her wear. So she had all mismatched bridesmaids down,
Mhm.
and there were 27 of all of her friends. And that was such a great end to the movie. It was so fun. Their wedding was on the cover of the style section. Then we roll into the credits, and it's kind of fun because all the ads in the newspaper are like the different credits and everything. And so I thought that was a really cute way to like end the movie. Yay. Well, that's it for 27
Yay!
Dresses. We have done 2 other movies as well. We've talked about Runaway Bride and we talked about Father of the Bride. So go back to episodes 4 and episodes 11 if you want to listen to those. And thanks, Kayla. I love reviewing movies with you. It's so fun. If
Fine.
you
I
have
love it.
another movie you want us to talk about, send me an email, alyssa@nashvillebrideguide.com. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wedding Reporter podcast. I hope you learned a little bit and had fun today. To find more resources and podcast episodes, visit nashvillebrideguide.com for more information. And as always, click the subscribe button and leave us a review. Until next time, I'm Alyssa DeChico, signing off.